Now we're going to see on what grounds competency-based program outcomes approach is criticized, right? As we have already seen, like objectives and their characteristics and their advantages. And then we saw some useful criticism on the use of objectives for language curriculum design, right? Then we looked at competency-based program outcomes in order to state the learning outcomes of a course. Now we're going to see to what extent competency-based program outcomes have their or fit into the overall design of a language program, right? Competency-based program outcomes, they describe, objectives which are very much similar to the objectives of the course that we have already seen, right? So this is one of the criticism against the use of competency-based learning outcomes. And obviously, when we are talking about, competency-based approach, it means we are having a specific approach, sort of controlled approach. For example, we looked at how learners can be prepared to, to ask for a house there, and how to, teach them about asking their needs of the house. So this we got specific activities in that example, right? And so this criticism actually makes us aware of that competency-based approach to language, to stating the outcomes of the program is a certain, loopholes which we as language planners, which we need to be aware of, right? There is a criticism, like that's been criticized, like obviously if a teacher is too much sticking to competency-based approach, they might not be having valid procedures or specialized procedures to carry on activities. So there is a risk, there is a danger that the time might be wasted in other activities in the classroom. So the competency-based approach is criticized on the ground because this focuses on observable activities. What about abstract notions or abstract ideas which language learners need in their daily life, right? So obviously, for example, competency-based approach, although it can prepare for doing job in a good way or follow directions how to do a particular job, but does it prepare the students to question the nature of job? I mean, this is the criticism. This is how it's been criticized, right? So overall, what we have gathered so far from this brief discussion or overview of the criticisms on competencies-based program outcomes is that this model CBLT is very much based on socio-economic efficiency model, which we saw discussed in detail in our previous sessions, right? So now we're gonna see the reason why it's been criticized is it tends to overlook the element of learner-centeredness. I mean, to what extent learners are given, a place while competency-based program outcomes are undertaken. So overall, although competency-based program outcomes has its relevance or usefulness for designing efficient language courses. However, it's much more suitable, seems to be much more suitable for English for specific purposes courses, because if a student needs special English, how to find the house, or how to how to talk at the workplace, or a doctor how to talk effectively in a specific context. So this seems to be suitable for English for specific purposes programs. So in summary, although competency-based program outcomes are important for stating the objectives of the program, but there is a criticism, and this criticism makes us aware some of its shortcomings.